G'day divers and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how I put the AOI UWL wide angled lens and the Backscatter Macromate Mini on the Backscatter Flip System. If you're new to my channel, I'm Sean Elliott and I've been doing underwater videography and photography for over 25 years. This channel is all dedicated about using action cameras and mobile phones paired with economical aftermarket accessories to get some great underwater footage. If you want to know how you can use your action camera or mobile phone to get shots like these, then please like and subscribe to my channel. So this is the third video in my three-part series. If you haven't seen episode 1 and 2, then I would suggest that you watch those videos first. In the first video, we talk about why we're attaching this wide-angle lens and macro lens. And in the second video, I do a full breakdown and show you all the parts you need to put these two lenses on the quick release system by AOI, which is actually the way that Backscatter and AOI recommend you use these lenses. They do not recommend you do it as this flip system. The quick release system is also applicable to not just Gopro, but also to the AcePro series and the DJI Action series, whereas the flip system really is only for Gopro. Now I have been told that there is a third-party housing by Taliesin, I think it is, for the DJI system that is exactly the same size as the GoPro housing, and therefore you can put the flip system on. But I've never used it, I haven't tried it, certainly because now that there's the AOI quick release system for it, I haven't bothered, but a lot of people have said it works, so up to you whether you try that. I'm purely talking about this from the GoPro Hero version because the flip system was designed by Backscatter for the GoPro and has been around since 2014 and will currently attach to all the GoPros up to the 13. I guess in a month's time we're going to find out whether the 14 is a different size and none of these adapters work anymore. So let's first cover off why I would think, they don't actually tell you why Backscatter and AOI says don't use this flip system. This is a bit of a hack. I came up with this before the quick release system had those extra adapters. So it was the only way I could put a wide angled lens on and a macro lens on the same dive, and I wanted to be able to switch between both of them. It doesn't work perfectly. We're going to use our handle to hold the wide angled lens, and we're going to use a rubber band to hold the wide angled lens. The Macromate Mini is going to need to be held back by the wide angled lens, and there is risks involved. If this slips off, unless you have it tethered to your housing or your tray, it can disappear. And the aluminium flip system was designed, the heaviest lens it was designed for was the Macromate Mini, and obviously the wide-angled lens is considerably bigger, and I assume Backscatter is concerned about it breaking or bending or whatever. I have done literally hundreds of dives and never had that problem, but I am not guaranteeing you that this will work perfectly for you. It is a hack, so look at the way I put it together and how it works, and it's up to you to decide. I would still be saying go with what Backscatter and AOI recommend. I still prefer this system. It's just because it's quicker and easier and I'm not taking lenses on and off, and I've been using it for hundreds and hundreds of dives. So if you're interested in knowing how this goes together, let's strip it all down, we'll pull it apart, and I'll go through it step by step, and then in the description I will put links to all the items you need to be able to put this housing together with these lenses with the flip system. So first we need to build our base, and what I recommend always is a dual-handled tray. Regardless of whether it's this system or not, we're doing underwater videography, this is going to give you a much more stable platform to work with. And with the flip system, it's a must because I'm going to be using this handle on the left-hand side to hold my wider angle lens open, which is why I recommend this tray by LetonPower, because it's width adjustable and we need to be able to adjust the width to make it the perfect width, and it has nice smooth handles that aren't harsh and rough on using it when we're flipping the wide angled lens apart. It then comes with a rubberized area so your GoPro doesn't spin around. You've got 3 spots that you can put screws in and to hold a tripod on. It comes with 2, so you just unscrew one of them. You only need 1 for your GoPro. I like to put it in the center, and that means I can then mount a tripod directly behind it as well to give it that nice centered feel. I'd highly recommend a tripod as well. I'll put a link to this one in the description. This is a Divote one. This is a very nice tripod. You don't have to go all the way to this. You could use just something basic like this Joby one or even a knockoff Joby one. But the cheaper you go, the less strength it's going to have in it and the less features it's got. This has got rubberized legs. It's got a ball joint. It's got a weighted system so you can adjust the weight. So it is a very nice tripod, and I'm going to be using it in this video mainly because it does hold it up a lot better, so I can hold it up easily for you to be showing you how it all works. But I do generally use this tripod over the cheaper Joby ones if I'm diving in the ocean. The only time I tend to start using this is when I'm tech diving because it's smaller and I don't want that much tripod hanging around when I'm going through caves and wrecks and things like that. In fact, I might take it off completely. The next thing we need is just the straight GoPro to 1/4 inch tripod thread. So these are very easy to come by, and your GoPro screw, and we're just going to use that to screw it straight on to our tray. And that's going to now allow us to be able to attach our GoPro straight to the tray. After that, we want a GoPro. It's not going to matter which GoPro as far as setting this setup, because you've been able to get the Flip system ever since the Hero 3, I think it was. Certainly been around for a very long time. Back in about 2014, the Flip system came out. All you need to be doing though is you need to make sure that you are either using the GoPro housing, because that's what it's designed for. It's going to attach to the housing. Or if you are going to use a third-party housing, that housing is 100% exactly the same size as the GoPro branded housing, because otherwise the Flip system just won't fit to it. So now we'll put together the Flip system, because it's easier to put the Flip system on the housing before you mount it to your tray. So now let's go through the Flip system. Now, where you want to get it depends on where you live. So this is all made by Backscatter, and if you're in the US, then just buy it directly from Backscatter. If you're outside of the US, then just I will link it all back to the Backscatter site because it's mainly their products, but then have a look at your local suppliers. Like here in Australia, you could have a look at Underwater Australasia. It's going to be a lot cheaper for you to buy it in Australia, for example, here in Australia, than try and bring it in from the US. 6 to 12 months ago, that wasn't the case. It was actually much cheaper to bring it in from the US. Now it will be a lot more expensive. Also, just consider postage. Postage will start at about $65 US to get it posted from Backscatter to Australia. So take that into consideration as well. But for example, this lens is at least $50 US cheaper in Australia now than it is in the US. Before you even worry about postage. So if you add postage into it, it's considerably different price. So wherever you are, if you're in Europe, just check out your local camera stores. If you're in Australia, then check out the local stores here, etc. And if you're in the US, then obviously you've got Backscatter right on your doorstep and you can order directly from them. And I think they offer you free shipping in the US, so it'll probably be your cheaper option. So first of all, you'll need the Backscatter Flip system. Now, they come in a bunch of different packages, but all you need to make sure at this point is that you have the two-way flip system, because there is a single way flip system. Generally, the cheapest way to buy this, if you don't have it already, is to get the full Pro version, because that comes with the dual system and it also comes with the Macromate Mini. And although it comes with colored filters that we're not going to use in this setup, you may want to use them later on. I don't particularly like red filters on action cameras, and I really don't like Backscatter red filters. Sorry, Backscatter. But it is still cheaper generally than just trying to buy this part and then add the bits later on. But have a Google, have a look and see what's the cheapest way for you to get it. But you're going to want the dual so we can add both lenses. Next, you need the Macromate. Now, if you've bought the Pro kit with the Flip system, you'll get the Macromate Mini. I've always found that the Macromate comes with this 55mm ring to attach it. So just make sure you are getting one of these 55mm adapters, because you will need that to attach it to the Flip system. But it's always traditionally come with it. And we're going to need an extra one of these as well. So you need to buy an extra one. You can pick them up easy enough because you've always been able to do that, because there's other lenses that you can attach. We need this to be able to attach our AOI wide angled lens or our Backscatter sharp wide lens. Next, you'll need the AOI wide angled lens or the Backscatter sharp wide lens, depending on which one you picked up. They're both the same lens. and we're going to have to change it to a 55mm thread. This comes with the AOI quick release system that we talked about in video number 2 in this series, and we're going to have to change that to a threaded 55mm attachment, so we're going to attach it to the flip system. So you can buy this AOI, it's made by AOI, it's a lens adapter that changes the AOI QRS-02 system into a 55mm thread. It's very easy to install. It's actually better quality actually than the quick release system, mainly because I suppose the threads are much finer. And you just simply remove the screws and replace it with this adapter. Now it does say, like I've said, is that it will say on it when you go to buy it that this isn't for attaching to the Backscatter Flip system, and that's because, like we discussed, Backscatter and AOI don't recommend it, but it certainly will. It's just a 55mm thread, and we just replace it so we can screw the lens on. So whatever you do, don't lose this little eyelet, because we're going to use that to put a rubber band through it to be able to help hold it closed. We simply put the threaded part over and replace all the screws. There's no alignment or anything, just put it in and line it up with the screws. We can just adjust the hood later on to make sure it's in the right orientation for us. So as you can see, we've now changed the quick release system to the 55mm thread. That's all we need to do with this lens for now. Next, we want to attach our two 55mm lens holders to our flip system. Again, they just simply screw on. It comes with the screws and the tools to do so. It's exactly the same way as when you change any of the filters on the system. It's about the only one thing that's always been a bit of a hassle with this. They could have probably come up with a quicker and easier way to swap lenses and filters out, but it's done via screwing them on and off. So once we do it up, we've got 2 screws for each one of the 55mm flip lenses, and they're just Allen keys, and it comes with them, and we've got one on the left and one on the top. Now the way this attaches, it's just a clamp style. There's one single screw at the bottom. We're going to put that over the GoPro housing and tighten it up. It needs to be nice and tight, because one reason that Backscatter and AOI do not recommend this for using the AOI wide-angled lens is because if you do not do this up tight enough, it has the potential of slipping off the front of your action camera and you're going to lose all your lenses. So this is a risk you're going to take. I've never had it happen. I always make sure it's on nice and tight. And I suppose if you're really worried and you never wanted to take it off, you could just glue it on. But it is a risk. If this slips off the front of your housing, you're going to lose everything that's attached to it. If you wanted to, and you're also worried, you could run a little lanyard through one of these and attach it to your GoPro or somewhere on your housing, so if it did fall off, it will catch it and you're not going to lose it. I will leave it up to you how to decide. I've never ever had it come off, but I'm not promising you that it won't, but I just never have. So I do it up nice and tight and it works fine. So like I said, just slip it over the lens. Just make sure it's nice and flush, it's not sticking out away from the housing, and then just use the Allen key to tighten it up nice and tight. So pretty straightforward. All we're going to do is use our GoPro mount with our GoPro screw to attach it. Now once we've got our GoPro attached and our flip system attached to the GoPro, we're ready to add our lenses. Now the best option I've found is to put your Macromate Mini on the top and your AOI wide-angled lens on the left. And they're pretty straightforward. They just screw on. So we'll screw on the Macromate first. And just make sure you do it tight. Threaded lenses, there is a potential that they'll vibrate and fall off. I have actually lost a Macromate on a tech dive before, deep inside a wreck, doing that. So just make sure it is on tight, but if you do it too tight, you won't get it off. So we put the flip system on the top. Now, it's not going to want to stay there. Okay, it's already the heaviest lens that was ever designed to go on the flip system, but what I find is it will stay in place because the flip system will work there, and although it won't clip out of your way, I only ever use it, the GoPro, with either the wide-angled lens on or the macro lens. The only time I will shoot without one of those lenses on is above water, and above water it's fine. Underwater, this isn't going to go forward because the AOI wide-angled lens is going to be in the way, but that is one of the negatives of this hack. You're just not going to be able to have this lens hold out of the way unless you add a rubber band or something and pull it down, but I've never worried about it. because there's virtually no reason whatsoever to shoot anything without one of these lenses on when you're underwater. Now, before we add the AOI wide-angled lens, one thing I like to attach to it is it has a little eyelet, and I want to put a little rubber band through that because we're going to use that to help keep it closed. When you first get the flip system and it's brand new, it will stay shut, but after a while it will wear out and it'll start to get a bit loose, and it is easiest to add this rubber band. Again, this is part of the hack, but it's quick and easy to use and holds it in place. So it doesn't matter which sort of rubber band you use, just a nice little small rubber band around that eyelet just gives us something to hold it by. And then now, because we've got the 55mm thread, that lens simply screws on just like the Macromate did. Now, you don't need this one tight. What I don't want to do is screw it so far through that the lens goes through the holder and then pushes the lens out like this. Just get it so that it will hold the lens in nice and flush and flat. And how I do this is I just, when I close the camera lens, is I just simply flip that rubber band over the GoPro screw, and that stops it from coming forward. So I just centralize it, make sure it hasn't gone all the way through, and that's how I hold it. And that way, as you can see, if the Macromate falls forward, it's not in the way. I'm going to shoot every shot without the Macromate with this AOI wide-angled lens on. So the Macromate's out of the way. So then, if I want to go from the wide-angled lens to the Macromate, I simply take the rubber band off the screw, and we're going to flip it out of the way. So what we're going to do now is adjust this handle's width, so when this wide-angled lens opens, it's going to slightly go behind this handle and keep it in the open position. So to do this is just an Allen key. Again, from memory, it comes with the Allen key. So you just want to adjust it so your screw's nice and tight for your GoPro, and your handle's at exactly the right width so it catches that wide-angled lens when it's open and holds it out of the way, but it's not too tight. Then when you've got it like that, it's quite simple. You can have the handle holding your AOI wide-angled lens out of the way, use your macro lens, and when you want to go back to your wide-angled lens, flip your macro lens out of the way and turn your AOI around, and then use your little rubber band to hold it in place and put it over the GoPro screw. So it's much, much quicker than taking lenses on and off, but like I said, this isn't the way that Backscatter and AOI recommend, because it is a hack. You have to use the handle, you have to use the rubber band, nothing works perfectly. You are risking, it wasn't designed for a lens this heavy, it could fall off, but I was using this for many, many years and never had a problem. The reason I originally did it was, like I said, was there was no other way. This was the only way that you could have the Macromate Mini and the AOI wide-angled lens on until they came up with the quick release system adapter for the Macromate. So if you're concerned about using this sort of hack, then watch video number 2 and use the quick release system, which is designed for. But the reasons I like this is it's much, much quicker. Much quicker. I can change these lenses a lot quicker than taking them off, even on a bayonet system. It's still cheaper, and especially if you already own the flip system, which a lot of people did. I mean, really all you were adding was the 55mm adapter and changing the lens. If you're starting from scratch, well, the price isn't as different, but certainly by the time you add a couple of holders to the quick release system, it's definitely a dearer way to go. And the other thing is, I never have to take a lens off. Yes, I risk the fact that if this falls off the front, I lose both lenses, but I've never had that problem. And if you're worried about it, then you could tether it to the tray. But I never have to remove a lens. The lenses are always here, they're not coming off, and they're always in a good position. Like if I'm using this lens, there's no chance really I'm going to damage this Macromate. It's out of the way. Everything else is going to get hit first. And if I open up the wide-angled lens, so if I go back to the Macromate lens, again, same thing. The lens is in here. It's not mounted on the top, or I'm trying to put it in pockets or anything like that. So it's out of the way and unlikely to get damaged. That's why I like this flip system. But if you're not prepared to have lenses flopping around a bit and using this hack with the using the arm and the rubber band, then I would recommend, just like Backscatter and AOI do, to use the quick release system, which I showed you how to put it together in the second video. So I hope that helped show you how to put the flip system together. If they've got any questions whatsoever, then put them in the comments. I hope the 3-part series has answered some of your questions. I tried to cover off things that have been asked in the comments in videos. So if you've got any questions, then put them in the comments. That's how I get around to making these videos, and I will answer any of the comments that come along. So I've got lots of videos coming up. There is a lot of exciting things. We're going to have new action cameras coming out. There's a lot of new lenses probably been introduced as well, plus some that have been recently introduced that I'd like to try. But still, at this point, these lenses are at the lower cost price, and this channel was about economical options. So that's why I'm sticking with these lenses for now. So we'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to keep blowing bubbles, and never forget, the deeper you go, the further you get away from all those idiots.